Hey, everyone. Hello, Georgi. Hello, everyone who is joining. Thanks a lot for taking the time today. Super excited because today we are having a super interesting topic, signals. I think like everyone in GTM is talking about signals. It is such a word, that people want to chase. And I am super excited to introduce Georgi. He is the founder of Signalbase. And I think he knows more about signals as anyone that I know from the GTM space. I'm the founder of Extrovert, the nurturing tool. So our talk here today will be in two parts. The first part would be what the heck is signals and how you can use them effectively. And the second part would be my part. What do you do after reach out? How do you keep the interaction flowing? And we don't want to make it boring. Like before we begin, please drop a like or a plus or whatever message in the chat that you can hear us well, that you can see us well, that everything is all right with the sound. And also, please be active, guys. So drop your questions, drop your opinions, anything, and we will address them as they come because this should be interactive. This shouldn't be just a boring webinar. So without further ado, let's just get into it. Georgi, thanks a lot for taking the time to join. Could you please tell the audience a bit about yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. Hi, everyone. Thanks a lot for joining. I was about to say it's absolutely crazy to see how many of you have signed up to join this one. Wow, you can be drinking beer in the Bahamas or something like this. So kudos to you because that means that you will be leveraging all of the gains around the slow months because truthfully, the space does not sleep as many people would thought about. I feel like when we talk about signals as a whole, and by the way, please make sure to drop in the chat how familiar you are with signals from 1 to 5, because I feel like that will help both me and Oleg a lot to tailor what we have in mind and to reduce the technical jargon and things like this. But yeah, just for you guys to know, like at the moment, job changes is one of the most exciting signal out there because of the fact that people are ramping up for the summer and things like this. Okay, Greg is 3 and 4, perfect, that's good. And based on that, there are a lot of deals that are going to get activated soon because whenever there is one signal in place, there is a so-called context stacking process that accumulates downline and you're being able to reach out to the right people at the right time. Now, maybe I can already start with sharing my screen, or Oleg, would you like to wait a few more minutes more?
No, for sure. We will share the recording. Don't waste time, taking picture or taking notes.
Okay.
We'll share the recording. We will share the recap after that. And when people will join, they can just watch the replay. So let's just get into it. And please drop your questions, guys, as Georgie will be talking.
Yeah, absolutely. Don't bother, guys, to interrupt because I might be pushing through so much things today. So I hope that you're ready to, hold tight. You can see my screen, right? Everything is good.
Yeah, all
Oleg.
good, all good.
All right. For the people that have not seen me yet on LinkedIn, hi, my name is Georgi, and I became a growth/marketing exec by the age of 19. Very randomly, I know I just got the keys to the growth function in a few startups, and that helped me to realize what it actually takes in order to scale a company to their first enterprise deal and beyond. I used to work over the years in both VC-backed and bootstrap environments. Funny enough, I have also seen what it's like to be on the investor side. And I have to say, it's quite awkward. It feels like you're this sexy girl that everyone wants to, spend the night with. But, it's an experience and you see what it takes to build a proper business, like exactly what Oleg is doing at the moment. And over the last year, I dedicated myself to boosting further the community in Amsterdam and the whole growth ecosystem as a whole. And that enabled me to create 11 events, so pretty much an event a month. And in September, we crafted a conference for 200 vetted executives. And funny enough, the talk today is going to address some of the same things that we spoke about a year ago, because the core fundamentals of GTM did not change, only the tooling changed initially. Before continuing down the line, I do need to mention that I'm building Signalbase. It's a real-time signal infrastructure that initially gives live data to your agents. You can target ICP-like accounts with relevance rather than spamming. And it's being used by leading vendors, also go-to-market agencies, some bigger teams, and I'm also a mentor within a few educational programs like the RefTech Accelerator. So if someone want to take a part of that, then there you go. I would like to start with something else, a little bit more about, hey, who the hell is this skimmy guy? Like, why should we listen to him? If you don't want to listen to me, that's fine. But here are the results of some of the conversations that we booked with some of the leading faces in the market. And I will try my best that by the end of this session, you will be able to book calls with such type of players with ease, because it's all about setting the system once and letting it run in a repeatable manner. All right. So first thing first, I do want to know how educated you guys are and initially what you're seeing within your day-to-day, because I feel like we're going to burst a lot of myths. So Oleg, let me just start with you. What are some of the myths that you have seen recently on social media as a whole, and also chat makes sure to drop them too?
I don't know whether it's a myth or not, but it was our experience. We used to run outreach for Extrovert, and we used to utilize social signals, like social intent, like people reacting to posts, either our posts or like posts in the field. And I was super surprised how low is the percentage of ICP fit. For us, it was like 8% within the relevant, topic, within the relevant even like person. So out of 100 people who liked the post, only eight were our ICP fit. And then it was like super crazy. I don't know
For
if you
sure.
have the same experience as well.
Yes, certainly. I mean, it's also the fact that people were getting more and more educated, right? And this is the reason why signals started existing as a category on the market. If you engage on a particular post, at some point you just become a target or a victim of particular outreach strategies, and you see, guys, in a bit how bad it can get. But that's certainly something that we also see. I don't see anyone else sharing so far any myths. So I'm pretty sure that we all agree that there is a lot of fluff out there. And without any further ado, I think it's time to just dive in straight into how you initially build that process, right? And it starts with a simple question here, which is, do you know your ICP? Because if you take a look into these two boys on the screen, you might see two guys that are in their early 20s, right? But if you study them, the guy on the left exited his company for, I think, above 50 million to MyFitnessPal, while the other guy is building a community for clay users, right? The thing is that if you target them accordingly, both as founders of companies, you already lost. But if you target them as 20-year-old guys that watch the World Cup, by the way, I hope your team, guys, is still active, because mine isn't. You can do some pretty good outreach based on the World Cup, right?
Yeah.
And this plays such a critical key, like part of the outreach nowadays, because of the fact that it's important to understand later, okay, those guys, they have their unique situation, right? And they do engage in different manners. And those different manners are so-called signals versus intent, right? The easiest way, without making it super complex for you to understand the whole picture, is that signals means external movements, something that you don't have a contribution to. Meaning, if a company raise and you haven't really sent a message or something like this, you don't really have a touch point with them. That being said, you don't need to name this. You need to keep it for yourself, because that's a contextual piece that can help you to reshape your message. As simple as it is. This can be a new certification, new office location, new hire, acquisition, funding round, you name it. It just helps you to understand the situation of that account. So by the time you send that message, it's 10 times cleaner why they're about to pick up the phone rather than leaving you unseen. And then we have the other side of the conversation where we have intent. Now, for me, intent is every touch point that a lead engages with you. It can be joining an event. It can be engagement on key content pieces that are about a new product launch. It can be about conversation that you have within your support, or maybe you have a POG motion and they do engage quite actively within it, right? Like they might have extreme usage. Now, having this in mind, it's very important to know which follows, when, how, etc., right? And for that reason, here is a simple customer journey that emerges from, I think, three years ago. This is a very old example, but it's like a great representation of it because of the fact how this marketing leader managed to purchase this tool from this very popular guy on LinkedIn, Ron Fishkin. Oleg, I don't know if you know him, but he's a fellow bootstrapper. So what he did within this post is describe the whole customer journey, right? It starts with the fact that he has been a fan of Ron Fishkin, he has been seeing some stuff, right? And in the end, he engages with his pricing page, which is where, if you see the page visits, you can say that, hey, there is a buying intent because they're on a key page, right? So you can't really have intent without a signal. Like there is always a reason why someone is coming to that page. That simple visit can be, hey, this can be nicer for 3 months down the line because of the fact that we are building something on the roadmap, but I'll keep it in mind, right? So it just prolongs with the whole journey. And signals alone have multiple shapes. And this is why it's so hard to build such a repeatable growth engine, because you do have occasional signals, which comes across other vendors or bigger market trends that occur on the market, which you need to leverage in order to stand out from the noise. And in that case, I made a post about Clay's pricing, yada yada. I think everyone knew about that story. I didn't roast them. I had a different different just opinion about that whole movement. So I just share it and people started engaging below. The more controversial you are, or the more hated you feel, the better it is for the algorithms, by the way. So make sure to write some post that goes according to that. And
So
then we also,
good old rage bait, right?
yeah, but do you really have an opinion if you don't make people rage bait a bit?
That's fair enough. That's fair enough.
You
I
don't
heard the
need,
take that you need
yeah.
to be controversial enough, but not too crazy. You know, that's
Yes.
the Adam Robinson's take. Uh, he has a term for it. I forgot the word or what he uses to describe it, but basically, you want to be in the middle, not too boring.
Certainly, because boring means sameness, right? Anthony Pieri has mentioned the same thing whenever you're trying to create your positioning statement. Is it, hey, we're trying to, make AI revenue agents, or you're tackling a very specific workflow that makes you to stand out? Then we do have these evergreen signals. This can be webinar participations of the overall industry. This can be certifications. This can be the fact that they're experts in particular areas and they do openly share that. And these are not for you to mention once again, but way more for you to just narrow down your list with relevance rather than steal from a graphics. And lastly, on the far right, we have one of our own custom signals, which goes around the time when someone wants to integrate signals within their platform or agents, right? Custom signals, it's not as easy to define as we may want it to be, but it's very, very needed for you to understand when is that exact point or what is that trigger point for you to reach out in order to really know that you've been following up for months, but in the end, this one thing changes the entire conversation with this account. So defining those custom signals, I can dive into it maybe a little bit later down the line, but it's very important to being able to mix all of these together in order to build your evergreen engine. And to take a practical step further, because there is so much that we already shared, in your brain, what I want you to know is that there are 3 steps. It always starts with a discovery. Either people discover you or you discover them. Then there is some kind of interaction. They either jump on your website or you interact with them. Doesn't matter. Like the first touch point is there. And lastly, what occurs is that you validated those signals with your CRM, your product usage, or customer success, right? The reason why we want to drill those down is because of the fact that we have 2 motions on the market. You have outbound motion and inbound motion. They're different subpaths to this. So in order to avoid it being super complex, I just drilled it into 3 motions. You either start with a so-called signal-based sourcing, which we do at Signalbase, that initially helps you to understand from all of the market who is currently moving, so you know that within a few days they can create intent, right? And that shortens the buyer's journey in the wholesale cycle. Then you have the traditional route, which is let's source it from LinkedIn or let's source it from a database, and then let's blast them all and see what is going to happen. Interested, do you have both? Okay. Yeah, by the way, for those that are not considering the one way or another, I feel like if you want to succeed, you really need to bet on both, even if it's light touch. It doesn't need to be that you send thousands of emails or very aggressive salesy pitches. It can be super educational with writing playbooks and all of these things. So just a small tip there. Now to get back to the visual, I do want to mention the fact that I'm going to personally focus right now on signal source because it's a brand new thing. And funny enough, I spoke with Clay's team this week too for that, and they do happen to agree that signal source first is going to be the future of go-to-market. So for that reason, it's something new. I haven't shared it, so I really want to emphasize on that one. If in the beginning we all look for funding signals, simplest example, for the fact that you need to be on LinkedIn 24/7, you need to monitor, you need to source Shopify and all of these things. This is not very scalable because that means that you need to have, I think, 200 tabs open for your account or for the account list, right? And then look for the keyword, look for the pulse every day. It's just very annoying and it's not very scalable. So this is the reason why with Signalbase we introduced those live streams where we capture all of these signals at scale and then verify them with sources. We push it to the infrastructure that we have, so you can later down the line republish this into another workflow which looks like this. And this is exactly the formula that I used in order to book the calls with the companies that I showcased in the beginning. You start with an evergreen signal that always indicate budget or financial movements. Why? Because if you know that these people have budgets, you can set up thousands of hypotheses. In this case, what I did for this workflow is to focus on acquisitions because I have the hypothesis that by the time someone have multiple offices, they might as well, after the acquisition, want to revisit their SEO strategy. And based on that, I set up a number of offices as a custom signal for myself. Now, before I continue, because this might feel extremely technical, how many of you guys use Clay? Or how many of you use any orchestration layer? Or it's very simple to understand this one?
Clay versus Claude code. Let's let's hear what the percentage is in the chat. Please drop drop your orchestration layer in the chat. We personally are switching from Clay to more to like agentic flows to Claude Code, custom agent, Claude Codex, both.
Both is a good combination. There are specific things that you want to use Clay for, and then Claude for some. I use both. Okay. So you guys know then what the hell I'm talking about. That's good to know. That's good to know. All right. So yeah, then for the people that used Clay or want to use Clay, ultimately what you do is that you drop unique data into it. You can enrich it further, and then you personalize it, right? Like dumb simple. If you are a Cloud Code user, we do also have a MCP, so you can look for recently funded companies, for instance, and then we stack all of the signals together in order to know, okay, this CMO has a recent fund behind them. They also have a new job change in regard to content. So if you are selling a tool for content marketing or something like this, then this is golden. Now, we have the data. How do we craft the message to knock on the door? This is a very bad example. Do not do this. And let me drill it down why this is not a good example. If you read it, it's just, I don't know, it feels lazy, right? Like there is no personalization. And by the way, even there is a hot take here. I don't think you need to be super personalized. I feel like you just need to be relevant. Because I noticed that you're active on LinkedIn. Like, why do you even need to bring that? And then the next line is directly about him, not about me. So what is the situation that I'm in, right? Like maybe he could have revert, or she just revert the whole message about you don't have much carousels, for instance. Do you struggle to building them yourself? That's the situation that I was initially in, right? Yeah, good, Ricky. Exactly, exactly. And then in the end, I'll be happy to create free samples based on one of the recent posts. Okay, that is all right. And then open to take a look. I don't know, like he already lost me here, so why would I continue to read the rest of the things, right? It's just not addressing it. And then here is another version of a very bad message. Someone just sent me a connection request, and I was like, huh, okay, like he understands GTM, I am in GTM, let's connect. Press on the button, and then I receive this. Your thoughts on context engineering and signal quality really resonated. All right. I noticed that you're exploring AI-powered, how AI can power better outbound, and 2x turn those signals into actual campaigns. Would be open for 14 days trial. Does anyone have any idea how this can be improved? I just wonder, like, what are some of the mental models that you guys have in place, or it's too vague? Oleg, any clue how you can improve this?
Your thoughts on context engineering. First of all, I would rather I like deal with LLMs a lot because we are AI first tool, and I know the quirks like how they write. So like I would kill the statement. So your thoughts on this? Maybe just rephrase it, and also resonate it is a little bit like. Um,
Wait, let me
uh,
engage on this one.
Interesting. It's based on the post from a person, right? So he posted about something like context engineering. So maybe I would just phrase it as a human. Maybe keep the same idea and say, "Oh, radio post, actually very similar to what we are building," and maybe not pitching. Maybe just asking a question about this, like, "Do you have a success with it?" Something like that.
Here is a drill down that it's practical from the signals guy, quote unquote. So first thing first, what you said is brilliant, right? Like I noticed that you're exploring AI outbound. Our tool does that. Like, do you want to try out? There's just zero insights here for me in my current situation. Like outbound is all about the current situation, the situation where your prospects are, right? The fact that I'm talking about context engineering means that I'm aware about it, but how do the message should be all about how do I use context engineering, right? Like that's a better approach. Really resonated is just you want to put some characters into the message. It doesn't say anything to me, and also the engagement felt warm. Okay, cool, but like it doesn't help me to understand my problem. It doesn't help me to solve my problem. It doesn't really say why do they connect. And then in the end, they just pitch slap me. And also the worst part is that they're pitch slapping the signals guy. So that's kind of like, you know, that's kind of off.
You know how the sausage is made, right?
Yeah.
It's actually difficult to sell to salespeople. Please share, guys. Do you sell to salespeople or like other industries? I sometimes feel envy. I envy people who sell to like more traditional industries
Yep.
where those tricks are not known because.
For sure. for sure. And now let me give you guys a few examples of what good, or at least what our partners said that it stands as a good thing whenever we first started working together. So these are two messages that I personally made. And I just want to walk you over like the whole mental model, right? So hi, first name, feeding live data into research layers. I already know that they do research with their LLM. So this address specifically their whole situation. I do know that they use a stale database. So having live context will help significantly, right? Then I do know specifically for this part that they do use CRM data. But CRM data is only based on the input that they're being fed with. So therefore, if you don't capture what's going on outside of the CRM, you kind of live on yesterday's reality, right? Like that's the whole premise. And then I add another line about like how it can help. And lastly, I drop a personalization, which is always something that should address a key feature or the current situation or the current build that those guys have. In that case, they had a knowledge graph that operates on a 2-week window. And 2 weeks is not live data, as you guys may assume. So therefore, this maps it out quite nicely. And funny enough, this message or this connection request formula helped me to build all of the pipeline that we have since we started. And it works extremely well. If people doesn't really engage with this, at least they see it and they are going to recognize that I did my work, right? Like the person on the other side wants to know whether you have done your work. And just to give another example here, this is a little bit more of a complex buyer journey, but the product and marketing executives of the guy on the right left, then they hired new executive management. And then what happened later was the fact that there was a combination of post plus public rebranding. So when I stacked all of these, something clicked and I was like, let me shoot my shot. First line, something that nobody will say to the guy. It's kind of cringy too, but it's also nice. It starts with the fact that a few minutes ago, he just changed his profile picture. So I just pointed there. He already knows that I'm watching him, right? And then the next line is not really signal related because I didn't know where their product roadmap will go into. So it's much more focusing on the long term, right? Like, hey guys, in case you need a hand with moving fully into the signal direction, like we can be of help. Super light. The PS won it here because the guy's a Juventus fan. So I just said, I think Juventus is playing well. So based on that, I just started building that initial relationship. And this is not something that you receive normally. So he knows that I wrote it. I put like the situation that he is in, the whole rebranding and moving with the product direction to the right path. This conversation booked me a call 6 months before the buying window even opened. We follow up through the summer. They gave me like a product update, how everything is moving. And then based on that, we continue down the line and have something for September. So this is an active deal that I'm still in, right? And this is the power of being in a situation where you know the exact company situation of the person on the other side, you know how they're going to move, you know the timeline, and you're the first one to reach out because you know that by the time they start looking for vendors, they're going to compare you with 4 other competitors. And if they compare you with 4 other competitors, you already lost, right? The first one that is in the decision-making process wins always. That's why HubSpot has so many clients, because everyone hears about it before they even get CRM. Dumb easy. And all of the messages that I just showed, guys, have one thing in common. And this one thing is also brought up continuously through our podcast because we interview some of the leading faces in go-to-market and about the fact that how they build their own motions, is that we all keep the context for ourselves. It's like going on a date and knowing that the girl on the other side loves roses. Would you rather bring the roses on the date, or would you rather talk about the roses on the date? 2 different things, massive impact. So that was about the first part of the engine. I won't bother you more about the inbound way because it's quite simple actually. By the time someone engages, what you need to do is run a simple enrichment, still with the signals, or overall to know more about that account. And only then you start knocking on the door, and then you can name the signal itself. But the harder part is afterwards, what do you do? Right? Like they're in, now what? Like, how do you keep it warm? And I know Oleg will absolutely blow your mind in a bit with what he has to share. I just want to emphasize that doing go-to-market and signal-based go-to-market is an ongoing effort. And you need to be able to not only knock on the door and leave, but also being able to bring those signals along the way. And here are some of my follow-up techniques really quickly. I share very cool posts with some of our prospects whenever we caught a few funding leaks. It happened 4 times in the same month, not from 4 different companies. So it's like, holy cow, you cracked. So that was the first thing. Then I always send a meme in order to stop the pattern of them being silent. Even if they reject me, they always say, haha, this is actually so good. So there you have it. And something for those of you who are doing enterprise sales, dare to invite people in person, because when you invite someone in person and they see you, the probability of conversion is 80% higher. Same if we get their WhatsApp number. I don't know if you guys have tried this, but the more WhatsApp numbers you have, the higher the probability of conversion, because it's quick access to that initial conversation. And this is one last thing. This is how I activated our biggest
Sorry,
deal.
can you pause here for a
Yeah.
moment? Can you tell a little bit more about like channels? Is it mostly get out of LinkedIn for you as soon as possible? Like just start the convo on LinkedIn and then move to some more personal, like WhatsApp or text message, or just curious.
Yeah. What I'm trying to do is that by the time we have the first conversation, and when they said, okay, let's try it, then I ask them for the WhatsApp number. Because that means if they get stuck within the trial phase or their priorities change, because you know that nurturing a deal, it's harder than people imagine.
Yeah.
You can send personalized messages on WhatsApp, and also on WhatsApp you can call them if things get very ugly and you want to know, is this a breakup message or not? You can also call them. It's a little bit intrusive, but on the other side you're showing up, right? And if they're a serious partner and they're genuinely swapped, they'll just say, sorry, like right now, this happened, we need to continue down the line. I would say how I personally multi-thread is LinkedIn first, WhatsApp second, email third. But
Yeah,
if
cool,
someone
cool.
else
Interesting.
has,
Yeah, interesting. I wonder if it works like with, mm, I think it should work with founders pretty well, because I think our audiences are pretty much similar. But I'm interested what the audience would say who sell to more like upmarket to enterprise. Um,
yeah,
like, do you guys use this trick as well? But super cool to hear.
yeah, absolutely. If nobody has a specific, by the way, tip here, or if you guys want to share some tips here, how to do more follow-ups, do let us know. I'm always trying to study a better way of following up. So there you go, or some crazy tactics, yada yada. Maybe the most powerful follow-up that I did was this. So what happened? I stacked multiple signals, and you can read the whole message, guys. Like, I haven't publicly shared this before, so you only see it for this webinar. What happened was the following. We start talking with a vendor about integrating Signalbase into their layers. What followed up was that they dumped us in February, and throughout all of this time I was trying to find a touch point. I went to a few events where I saw them because they're quite proactive, and in the end I went to this one event where I met one of their users. And funny enough, I met this guy before, so he knows what we do with Signalbase, yada yada. And there the magic happens because he told me a weak point, right? So field sales is actually super strong way for you to gather intel too. And especially gather intel for deals that you feel extremely stuck with, right? Like you don't know what's going on. Just pick up the phone or go meet someone from your from the champions that you have, or that initial person, right? What happens next is that I start hearing the same things over and over again from our own users, plus combination of a few other people that want to use both of the tools. So I was like, okay, let me shoot my shot. And then it all of the sudden leaked from the company itself, right? Like their own team. So what I did was that I crafted this pitch, I stacked it all, I have proof, I have demand, everything is on my side to just follow up. So I follow up, there you go. I booked the call, and the rest of the story is about to continue. But I think this is a very good way how you can reactivate a deal. And truthfully, I would highly advise you to reactivate deals only when there is a reason, right? Because then it's okay for them to read the whole message and understand that you can actually help. If not, it just becomes spam. So that's at least how I think about a signal-based go-to-market and building the repeatability engines. There is more use cases about how you can build those on our YouTube channel. So we have a Clay Bootcamp mentor in the face of Tanai who uses it in order to create an ABM program. And then we have someone from the RevTech Accelerator, Francesco, great guy. He found one very key acquisition for his advisory while he sleep. So that use case is also on our YouTube channel. And yeah, thank you guys for
Was it,
listening.
is it a real story? Was it at night? Like, I mean, he was literally sleeping or?
Yep, because of the fact that he used an orchestration layer named Victor, and it's agentic first, I don't know, like orchestration layer. I'll just call it like this because I don't know exactly how it works. I never used it, but he
Yeah.
just hooked on different connectors, and then he just let it run, like let Signalbase to listen. Then he applied a Notion doc about his ICP. So it knows exactly which leads that are ICP like can benefit directly from his own services. And then he run the additional enrichment in Clay on autopilot. So this is the reason why I wanted to share this one and this one.
So it is maybe the first time in history that claim, get something valuable while you sleep was actually, true.
Yep, yep, exactly.
Yeah,
So
because
that's
you
it,
see.
guys. I will leave you in the hands of Oleg for a few more follow-up strategies because I know that he can cook.
Yeah, but before I start, guys, please do share questions. We don't have a lot. We have a question from Aditya. Wouldn't WhatsApp be too intrusive? What has been your experience? So for me, WhatsApp is not intrusive. For Georgi, he said that WhatsApp is good. For me, the WhatsApp, the biggest issue with WhatsApp that I see is that it's just more difficult to manage within the team. So if you want to, integrate it with the CRM, if you want to outsource it to your, to another person to message on your behalf or to follow up on your behalf, it might be a little bit more difficult. But I'm not sure. Do you use any kind of tools with your WhatsApp, or you're doing it just?
No, manually. It's also super nice because of the fact that at least how we work is I'm in WhatsApp groups with 3 to 4 members from that initial organization that we work with. So the developers can always call me back. So it's not only me intruding them, it's the other way around. Because for instance, I was having dinner, they had a problem, rang me the phone, hey Georgia, can you see this really quickly? And we get it done. It's just faster access to people. I wouldn't say it's intrusive. There is definitely an approval sometimes that you need for those things, but that's why you ask for a number, right? If you get someone's number and then you send a message stating, hey, pitch slap, that's not okay. But if you say, hey, I just spoke with this person, he gave me your phone number, so you take away the chances of being named a scammer away to the other person. And if someone said that if there is a warm partnership, things get 10 times easier. So yeah, that's my experience. Like WhatsApp is a great channel.
Cool, cool. Fahad is asking, based on your experience, which use cases can Clay still do better than Claude Code?
Great question. I'm a marketer, so I would say it depends. It depends on how you personally want to consume the data. I feel like it's way more about that than anything else. Obviously, Cloud Code lacks a few features that Clay has. So it really depends on the use case and how you want to navigate around with the data that it's available. I think that's the right way of looking at it rather than this or another. There was another person who stated both, and I firmly believe that both are legitimate. Because at the end of the day, the orchestration layer is only as powerful as the data that you feed it with.
Yeah, yeah, for sure, for sure. If you're, the orchestration layer is just a tool to, yeah. Cool. Lorena has a question: how you scale messaging, one-on-one communication, plus great personalization takes a good amount of time. I hope I will be able to cover this in my part. If I won't, please call me out, and we will hear what Georgi has to say, and also maybe I will follow up.
Yeah.
So please do keep bringing questions, and I will share my part super quickly. So basically, thanks a lot, Georgi, for your presentation. I really think you nailed the signal part, and I have not a lot to add. I only have two additions to it. So what I think can make your approach better, apart from nailing the signal part, is two simple things. So first thing is being a familiar face when you reach out, and staying on the radar, staying long enough until they buy, to give them time to prioritize your product or service, to give them time to choose it and buy it. Basically, play the long game. So if you are doing just a cold pitch, it is just random cold pitch. It gives you zero results. If you're relevant, it's a little bit better. You are already have a very good chances if your outreach is signal timed. But you get to the next level if people recognize you before you reach out to them with a signal, and you are like, galaxy brain if you're staying familiar after that until they buy, as long as they need to make this buying decision. So how do they do this? How do you do this? And why it works? Probably most of the audience knows me and knows Extrovert, but just quick um, quick introduction. So we are a nurturing tool. So we have the data on this, and a lot of things that I will be sharing based on our data. We analyzed like almost 1 million comments and 1 million connect requests sent through our platform, and this is data backed. So the main thing you need to nail when you reach out to people is not to be perceived as outreach. So this feeling, you accept a connect request, on the other side is not a person, it's just a sequence. You know what will happen, that it will send you the message on the day number 3 and things like that. And one of the greatest way to do this is just to be known before you do this. This is our data, and it actually says that you have almost double chances of getting your connection accepted. So it's 41 against 27 on average throughout all of our users if you leave 2 comments. You don't need more because it degrades after, so you don't need like being too crazy, and you don't want to be robotic. You don't want to be like, shoot a comment today, shoot a comment tomorrow, then then connect. Space it out, give people some room so that they know you beforehand. The other thing is that it will actually improve your reply rate as well. So we see 31% versus 23. And I want to make it clear that it is just our like aggregated data throughout all the users. Obviously, we have like top performers who have like 60% reply rate, and we have people who have like 8. But those are just average numbers. So you can with commenting, you can expect like almost doubling your reply rates. Also, some people will DM you first. So when you comment on their content, you send the connect request. A lot of people will check your profile and will DM you first, because I do it all the time. If I have an inbound connect request, I check people's profile. And yeah, the acceptance rate is higher as well. It is tedious to do. So if you do it manually, it is hard to keep track of who you commented on, how many touch points you do, and stuff like that. You can do it manually. You can use SalesNav or some internal tools that LinkedIn has. You can also use our tool for this. So basically, very quickly, it builds you a feed out of your prospects only. It prioritizes their posts against your filters that you choose. So you can skip like types of content that you don't want to see. You can skip specific topics, etc. You see the summary and you see the draft. Draft is drafted in your style and your voice, and nothing is posted without your approval. So you approve everything. You can tweak it, you can change it, and it just makes it easier to do at scale. But the main idea is super simple. You just you comment for a while to stay like
There
um,
is someone who had one question. Does it
yeah.
work with non-English speaking countries like Portugal, Spain, etc.?
Yeah, for sure. You can. So when you do the commenting, you can specify instructions for the model, and you can specify that you talk a specific language, several languages. It can also comment on the language of the post. So Portuguese, it will comment in Portuguese. English, it will comment on English, and yeah, it will work for sure. The biggest one of the biggest pushbacks that we receive, and I wonder if you guys see it as well, that your ICP don't post. Like we have a lot of people like selling to hospitality or healthcare or construction or whatever, where people don't post on LinkedIn. And how do you deal with that, right? My audience is lurkers. How do you comment on their stuff uh, if they don't post at all? So what we found out is that you can actually trick the algorithm and comment on people that they follow. The idea is super simple. They follow some people. It might be their work buddies. It might be their influencers they follow. It might be someone they interacted with. And we can get this data from LinkedIn and show posts that they will likely to see to you, that you can comment on, and you will indirectly appear in their feed. They will know you. They will know your face. And although it is more indirect and it is more work, very surprisingly, we see very similar data on how it affects connect acceptance rates. So it is almost the same, 27 versus 41, if you comment on people that they follow. So this is very often slept on. So just use it to increase your chances as well. The last part, the second part of my talk is playing the long game. So the first part was like before you do the outreach, how you become a familiar face. How do you be known before you do this pitch? And the second part is, what do you do after the pitch? Like, okay, they replied to you, or they didn't, and you sent several follow-ups, or maybe they even made a demo with you. Maybe you had an interaction like a call or something. It doesn't mean they bought. And the reason for this is that it is probably I don't know how if you guys sell painkillers. I mean, if your solution or service is more like a painkiller than a vitamin, but with with a lot of teams that I talk to, it's not top five priorities of your audience because people have stuff to do. People have, issues, and even if you nail the moment, if you nail the signal very well, they need some time to, evaluate, and you need to stay basically long on their radar so that they don't forget that they get back to you. And we see 52% of replies after 1 month of the initial touch point. So you need to have a system to stay in touch.
Really quickly
And
here, I have a bit of a nerdy question, demanding question.
yeah,
Obviously, commenting is great, right? But how go-to-market works is that people need to see you more and more out there. That means that you also need to make posts, right? Is the data based solely on commenting or on profiles that also are very aggressive with their content strategy?
this is a good question. And I think that you for sure need to post. And we don't track this because our tool doesn't allow you to post. But I think we should track this because it would be an interesting data point to see. But it is a no-brainer that posting increases your outbound chances by a lot. And I even used to share a meme in my previous presentations that even if your content brings you zero inbound, it is a great way to boost outbound. The reason for this is just super simple. It is just how algorithm works. If you comment on someone's post, they reply to your comment, they will be very likely to see your post. Or if they reply to your DMs, and this is very underutilized trick that I learned from one of our users. She's basically using jokes as a way to force people to reply to her. And the idea behind this is that she doesn't need a conversation. She needs a reply because if you reply to someone in DMs, LinkedIn will be crazy showing their post to you because it's a strong signal, and she sells in her posts. So it's like just the way to trigger their algorithm to kind of funnel your posts to your ICP, and this is a great addition for sure. I encourage everyone to post, even if it's something similar like reposting your company takes or whatever. And the other thing which I wanted to share, and it's actually connected to what you just talked about, is the conversation restarter. This is kind of an interesting distinction between the signal and the restarter. So what I mean by that is that if you already have the conversation with someone and you listen to what happens in their world, like, I mean, what events happen with them, like they might have a launch, they might attend an event, they might have a milestone, launched on product hunt, whatever, something's happened to them. You can use this to just get a reply. It is not saying anything about their intent. It is not saying anything about their situation and their buying journey, and that anything changes with how likely it is that your product is useful for them. But it's just a social thing. It is very easy to answer. Like, a lot of people are sharing, oh, we launched on Product Hunt. You can DM them and say, oh, congrats on the launch. How did it go? And that's it. You will not get any page, but you will probably get a reply because it's a very, human thing to say. And the only difficulty with this approach is that it's super hard to monitor because you need to monitor everything. You need to monitor their posts, like some news that you find on the internet. And what we have in Extrovert, that you have your DMs here, and you have DM suggestions, and you have the reason for the DM. And in this specific example that I want to share, our prospect shared a relevant post 9 days ago, and this is relevant because she promotes their um, like a framework or a model that they are about to ship. And she's our prospect because we want to have a webinar together with her. And our take that is very likely to succeed is that, oh, I saw that you are about to ship this thing. What is your goal for your GTM? It might be like we can showcase it in the webinar, and it can bring your leads. So this second part is quite rare, that you can connect a signal to what you're actually selling. But even without this part, even if you do it like this, even it's not connected to what you're saying, if you're just asking a question, it is a very human thing to say, and you will probably get a reply, even if you have the situation where you followed up like several times and you didn't get a reply with your direct pitch. It's just a way to, reframe the conversation and just to restart it. And the magic here, I think, is doing it at scale. Because when I talk to people, to teams, usually what I ask them is, how long is your sequence? By the way, please tell me, guys, how long is your sequence in the chat? And usually what I get is like, our sequence is 2 weeks long, 3 weeks long, like 4 weeks long. And the next question I ask is, how long is your sales process? Like, remember when you bought yourself any kind of thing, like a service or a product, how long did it take you from the first interaction with the company or with the person? Like, usually people say it's like 6 months. Well, we followed the guy on LinkedIn, we followed their content, we saw them somewhere on the webinar, we made a trial, then we forgot, then we came back, then we had a demo call or whatever. It's just a messy, long journey. And if it is one thing that I would like you to get from my part of the presentation, is that your effort per prospect and your interaction window length is not the same thing. You can simultaneously have a very long interaction window and a very low effort per prospect if you have a proper system in place for nurturing. So I think whether you're using our tool or you're using any kind of other system, I think the good mental model about this is to stay in touch as long as possible, but keeping your effort per prospect as low as possible. And that's basically it for my part. If you haven't tried Extrovert, get 50% off the first month with code Signals. And also, Georgi, I think you have a giveaway for Signalbase as well
Yeah.
for the users that will be sharing.
Yeah, for sure. It's pretty much the same offer, guys. So it's 50% of the normal plan. But by the way, the duration of it is until tonight. So if you send it a message right now, I'll be able to reserve it for you. So yeah, for those who joined or are watching the recording, well, it is what it is.
Super cool. How people can use it? What should they do?
So, how they need to claim, you mean the promotion?
Yeah, yeah,
Or
yeah.
just send me a message on LinkedIn. I'll be able to like store it, so that's not a problem.
Awesome, awesome. Thanks a lot, guys. We have a couple more minutes before we will be wrapping up. And we have some time to answer questions. Do you guys have some questions for Georgi or me?
I do want to add something, by the way, at least from our own sales cycles, while I'll really give some time to the people to share. So there are times, and I wonder, Oleg, if you have the same, like sometimes you just reach out to someone, they're extremely warm lead. They jump on a call, they did the trial, and then all of a sudden, they just vanquish.
Yeah.
So a certain tactic that I'm seeing right now that works quite well is reactivation of those people 2 to 3 months down the line. So you stop following up at some point because you become spamming, right? And I personally burn a few people like this, if I'm very honest, in our very, very early days of building Signalbase, because at that point we were like, oh, holy cow, like we need every lead to come in, right? Like we need to optimize for learnings and all of these things. Thanks everyone for joining, by the way. Um, so yeah, I was thinking, hey, I need to follow up super aggressively, but then, life is not as sales reps want it to be, continuously
Yeah.
following up. So just a small tip from my side, guys, make sure to give your leads or prospects some time to think about it, because things are moving. Something that I haven't addressed from in this presentation that I happened to see today is actually I reached out to someone in February. They didn't know anything about signals, and now all of a sudden they have signals in their product. So things change, and as long as you keep yourself relevant, as all is mentioned, then you'll be able to harness your fruits. Okay, there is
Yeah.
one question, by the way. If you have, if they have SMM managing their account, would the reply rate be the same as for someone who doesn't have? I think this is social media
Social
agency.
media manager, I think,
Yeah.
something like that. I think there are two parts of the equation. The one part is the quality of your outreach, of your comments, of your interactions, and the other part is consistency. So obviously, if you are a founder, if you're doing it yourself, the quality will be high, but consistency will probably be not the best. I'm talking from my experience. If I do stuff, consistency is like really bad on everything. But I think you can just balance this. We have a lot of users outsourcing their at least part of their engagement. Like the tip here is that it is not black and white. You can outsource some parts of it. So, for example, you outsource the follow-ups, but you don't outsource the when there is the actual conversation and you want to close people. You do it yourself, but you can outsource the follow-ups, and it's the huge pile of work. So you can do it like this. And also following up on what you said, Georgie, about reactivation. I really like that you brought this up because this is crazy how big of a low-hanging fruit it is. We used to run reactivation campaigns for us and for our users, and it's literally surprising for people how many warm leads they have in their networks. So what you can just do tomorrow, just go to Sales Navigator, use the filter your network, filter within your network, filter within your ICP. If you can scrape it, if you have the capacity, just run it through Claude or Clay, whatever, just do the ICP match, and then listen for signals within this group or use them in Extrovert to nurture them or do both. And it is crazy how we got like 30-40% reply rates on this.
For sure. It simply works once they know you, right? And that's why I emphasize on content, because like it or not, if they're connected, they're going to like see it, which is the reason why I hammer a lot on LinkedIn outreach rather than email. Hot take. But maybe good to end it up as it is.
Yeah. Thanks, guys. Thanks a lot for being here. Thanks a lot for taking the time. Georgie, it was awesome. Thanks a ton. We will be sharing the recording. We will be sharing the promo codes and slides as well. So have a great end of the week, everyone, and see you in the next one. Have a good
Bye
one.
guys.
Bye.